And welcome back to another segment. You already saw the last segment, hopefully. Segment of Three the Hard Way. Tariq Rashad, John's going with Kimber Hunter today, and Mary Man Rob with a Bachelor's of Arts and Science. This is Three the Hard Way. Please like and subscribe to all of our outlets, whether that be Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Like and subscribe. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are out here. We love the fans. We love the people chiming in. We've been having a really good time on our lives when it comes to the NBA offseason. Check that out if you get a chance. They've been fun. But here we are with a basketball segment, mostly basketball. But back again, we're gonna start with our the next class, the Hall of Fame class of 2021, the possible inductees. We're just gonna talk about some of their best moments, some of our favorite guys that we want to see go in. This is definitely players that played during our generation. We getting old, fellas. Getting old, man. So some of our favorite players during our favorite era of basketball. So we're just gonna jump right into it. Anybody want to start with a moment or a player that you expect to go in hands down or anything like that?
All I gotta say is, as a basketball player growing up, there's certain players who you look up to. You kind of try to take different things from their game and implement it into your own. I was a Kobe Bryant fan growing up, but I knew I couldn't necessarily shoot turnaround fadeaways all game. My coach might bench me for that, right? So I had to do little smooth stuff, little pull-up jump shots, little nice ghost layups to the basket. I wasn't dunking on everybody in like fifth and sixth grade. So one of my favorite moments is when Paul Pierce, the truth, the Kansas product, of course. Now, I mean, it's the inspiration for the Three the Hard Way logo. You got Kansas colors there. But he was squaring up against Al Harrington. He was just talking trash to him like, oh, you can't guard me, right? You can't guard me, right? And he's just shaking his head. They're going back and forth. At the clock winding down. Do a little side step. Bow! And it's And I'm like, dang.
Harrington talking to Pierce. And Joe DeRosa telling him to shut up. Pierce buries it right to Harrington.
That boy, true. So for me, I practiced that move, that sequence so many times growing up. So that will forever be one of my favorite Paul Pierce moments because that's something that I could replicate in a game. Not necessarily trash talking, but the move, his skill set, how he's able to get open shots and hit jumpers and all types of stuff like that. Like he wasn't the most athletic, wasn't the fastest, but that boy could put the ball in the basket. Man. Shout out to the Paul Pierce, the truth.
Yeah, man. I think Paul Pierce, bro, the truth is exactly what it is. You call bank? No, I call game. Like I'm Paul Pierce. I call game. Listen, man, gotta love it. Love his intensity. Love the rivalry. I think that he's one of the last of the dying breed when it comes to that NBA era before people buddying up and teaming up. Paul Pierce was true to that. Like, if we not rocking with each other, we not rocking with each other. And that's what it is. To this day, that man still don't like LeBron James. Every chance he get, he had LeBron James' neck and the big three neck. But it was that type of era and that type of rivalry that, we grew up on. We love that type of stuff. And we miss it, we see players, playing together now. And there's no harm, no foul with that. We just grew up in a different era than this generation. Hard nosed, I'm coming at your neck trying to kill you every possession. There was no friends on the court when you got between those lines. I'm coming at your neck, and Paul Pierce represented that full-fledged. Outside of that, man, I love the other draft class. We got Chris Bosh in there, who definitely deserves it with the big three, and I think he's so underrated as a crucial part to that team. The defensive anchor, you talk about defensive anchor, and also offensively as a spacer. He was really one of the first big men to be a spot-up three-point shooter and really own that role while being defensive, right? He can really guard 5 through, I believe he can go 5 through 2. Really, Chris Bosh was that athletic and that agile. It was very crucial to that Miami Heat team. Came up with a lot of crucial points and crucial blocks. So those are two that, besides Ben Wallace in that 2003 2003 Pistons team, those are my moments that, I'll get from those players. Of course, Chris Webber as well, but I was more along the Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh, and what should I say? And Ben Wallace era.
Yeah, I like the 4 guys that you named, who are the 4 frontliners, the headliners of this Hall of Fame class. I'm gonna speak on the one that you guys didn't speak on too much, because his heyday, Chris Webber's heyday, was with my original, when I first started, understanding and liking the game of basketball, my original favorite player, and that was Jason Williams. And Jason Williams can dime you, he can find you anywhere on the court, and it just seemed like Chris Webber was always running the court. He was dunking on people. He had really good hands. He can catch, he can shoot, he can defend his position. I'm not going to say that he can defend 1 through 4. That wasn't necessarily his forte, but he can definitely defend his position. He had his battles. He's the unsung hero, in a sense, unsung star, when you talk about how strong the West was in his time with power forwards and centers. Shaq, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett. The list goes on and on. Young Amari Stoudemire. And he held his own. He made all-star games. He was there was one season where the Sacramento Kings was one bad tip out from Lottie Divac into Robert Horry hands away from going to the championship. We talk a lot about Ray Allen's shot to save LeBron's legacy, but Shaq and Kobe go to one less championship and because they won that year, have one less championship if the ball rolls a different way in Game 6 against the Sacramento Kings. So Chris Webber is definitely one of those guys for me. Paul Pierce, I hate analyst Paul Pierce more than I hate the basketball player Paul Pierce. I remember when Paul Pierce, before Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen joined the team, when the truth was just as big as the answer and the franchise. I don't have to say who the answer's name is. God damn it, if you don't know who that is, you need to do some basketball research. And the franchise, you may not know, was Steve Francis and guys like that. Like, they had those the name type of star power, and they were the guys at the time. Paul Pierce also played on some really bad teams. So when you talk about staying true to Boston as long as he could and being able to bring them a championship and go to a couple championships, he played on one of the teams that had, at the time, one of the longest losing streaks in NBA history. They had the longest losing streak in NBA history. It's been beat like 3 times by like the Charlotte Bobcats and other piss poor teams, for lack of better terms. But Paul Pierce was there through all of that. And like John said, he definitely had that mentality of, it's me and my guys against you and your guys, and the hate runs long. I mean, it went to a point where he was saying that he was a better player than D Wade, which is crazy talk. But and LeBron wasn't that hard to guard, and but I also like the fact that LeBron made sure that he brought that same type of energy to Paul Pierce whenever he got an opportunity to. Paul Pierce retirement ceremony, the Cavs went out and spanked Boston by like 40. LeBron dancing on the sideline, Paul Pierce tight. But and also Chris Bosh, part of that big 3, played with my favorite player, D Wade. And before then, he was a 20-12 guy out in Toronto, and he was keeping them relevant after the removal of guys like Vince Carter. And they hadn't had a good team in such a long time, and he had them in the playoffs, whether it was a low seed or not. Chris Bosh held his team down, went to the Miami Heat, and became like you said, John, the anchor and a very formidable part of the team that went to 4 championships in a row. And for what it's worth, he was leading the Miami Heat prior to his injury. He was a top 10 candidate for MVP at that year before the blood clots of the lungs appeared. So that ended his career shortly and untimely. So big shout out to Chris Bosh, because he still had 4, 5, 6 years to give us had he stayed healthy. And then Ben Wallace, the ultimate anchor. We compare so many, very few players we expect to perform on a Ben Wallace level defensively. And it's even harder to do it now. So it's very much appreciated being the anchor of those teams, being 6'9", 6'8", and playing like he was 7'1", blocking Shaq, things of that nature, jump balls with Shaq and making him fall. Sheer power, strength, true blue collar grit, Detroit basketball. He embodied that. And I think even though if there's anyone on this list that doesn't make the Hall of Fame, it would be Ben Wallace, in my opinion. I'm hoping the championship push him over. Yeah, Rob, because he doesn't have Hall of Fame.
I'm just saying.
I remember modern day Hall of Fame.
I'm just saying. I remember having a conversation when we was talking about impact, and I was the only one on this show talking about Paul Pierce having a greater impact than Ben Wallace.
I don't think he has a greater impact than Ben Wallace, but I also acknowledge longevity and statistics, and that's what Hall of Fame voters acknowledge as well. And on paper, I'm a big storyline guy, but on paper, if I had to choose between Paul Pierce and Ben Wallace, I'm absolutely choosing Paul Pierce. The guy that could put his team on his back. Ben Wallace can hold the team down, but he couldn't put the team on his back because he didn't have that scoring prowess the way that Paul Pierce did.
Truth shall set you free.
Let's move on to our next topic while we got a little bit of time, because we definitely spent some good time on that, but I enjoy it. 2K comes out Friday. Off season's over in a sense, there's still moves being made, but the big moves have been made. Teams are really settling in. They're starting their training camp. Summer league is over. What team would you guys truly enjoy GMing or being the point person, calling the shots for if you were playing in 2K? What's the team that has the pieces, the trade bait, the salary cap, the city, the jersey? What's the team for you guys?
Go ahead, Kimber Hunter.
You ain't gonna say them. I promise you that.
I always play with my Knicks. I always try to play. If I'm playing 2K, if I win in dynasty mode of championship with the Knicks, it's just as good as the Knicks winning in real life to me.
Yeah, because I'm from New York City, goddammit.
I live it up to the best of my ability. I'll be feeling mad happy winning the chip with the Knicks. But, however, the team I will be most excited to play with is Houston Rockets. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., John Wall, and Christian Wood. They're you remember when you used to play back in the day? You played with J.R. Smith. You're always going to do some shifty crossover and hit the three. They got two players like that, Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green. Both are super bouncy. Both are super crafty. Both can get to the basket at will. And then you got John Wall coming down the middle, just dunking on you, bro. Then Christian Wood following up with a three. You have a 3-point spacer. They'll be excited to play with as well.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
You play with Houston in franchise mode. Who the first person you're moving? Because you got to move somebody. That's not a team that's going to win your championship. Who you moving?
Probably
GM.
Probably
exactly. That's what I hear you say. Exactly.
I probably trade John Wall.
John Wall is the trade bait of the 2K world. For those of you who don't know, if you do watch 2K heavily, if you do watch our show heavily, when we play 2K, we are trade meisters. We will spend hours at a time finding a trade that is definitely not one-sided, but favors us a lot more. But we definitely do it the right way. We keep fair trades on. We will trade the whole farm. We will trade draft picks to 2035 to get the best player on our team. But it's amazing the way we do it. That's why I had to ask John, who is he moving? And John Wall is definitely the trade bait in 2K. Not saying that he's a trade bait in the NBA, but 2K purposes, I'm definitely moving him if I'm playing with the Rockets. Rob, who you got?
Oh, man. So I'm going to go with First things first. When you playing 2K, you got to understand that this isn't basketball, right? People think that when you play 2K, like actual playing it, you're playing a basketball game. You're not playing basketball. You're playing 2K. That's first things first. So like certain things you can do in real life.
Listen to the gamer on the show, y'all. Listen to the gamer.
Certain things you can do in real life, like a high-low pass or like a Kyrie Irving finishing tough on Rudy Gobert. It's just not going to happen in 2K. It's just not going to happen, right? So with that in mind, the team that I would love to play general management for is the Charlotte Hornets. Here's why. Number one, you have a young budding superstar in LaMelo Ball, right? And 2K, you need somebody to create for other people. And you need that person to be able to finish at the rim, right? You have that person in LaMelo Ball. I'm pretty sure they're going to give a pretty good dunk rating, right? Then you need secondary scoring options, right? So you got Terry Rozier who can create off the dribble. You got Gordon Hayward who can create off the dribble. If you want to throw it out you got Miles Bridges. They just drafted James Bouknight, who's probably like 3 stars in trade value, right? There's another person who has the potential to create off the dribble. Then they got floor spaces in PJ Washington who can shoot a 3. If you want, you can slide Miles Bridges to the you can slide Miles Bridges to the 4, and he can play your stretch 5 if you need him to be. You can go small ball, right? And then they got depth off the bench. They got Kelly Oubre. They got Mason Plumlee. They got Vernon Carey Jr. and they got Bismack Biyombo. And you just really need somebody to block shots, set screens, get rebounds, right? So all that being said, they have the trade pieces. They have the depth. They have the young superstar. They have the cap room. Now, your first year, you may not do that well, right? You trade Gordon Hayward, maybe Terry Rozier. You're probably not going to do well. But I guarantee you, once free agency come, whoever is the big game or two, you're going to have enough cap space for them, and you're going to be able to sign them and pick them up. And you'll still be competitive in year one playing-wise. Simulation-wise, not so much. But when you playing, you're going to have fun with them. So I would definitely choose Charlotte Hornets.
I want y'all to know that John also chose Houston because he knows they're going to have a high draft pick as well. I'm trying to tell y'all, these guys are gurus. They are trading to get their players. I, myself, am a late bloomer. I was late to the game of the trade. I've learned. They've taught me. I've learned very well. And I'm going to go with a team. Again, I'm preface this by saying, like Rob said, when you're playing 2K, you're playing basketball. You're in a basketball arena, but you're doing things that you know are going to work in 2K. For example, I am nasty with Bobo, and that's why I'm picking up the Denver Nuggets. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I'm playing with the Denver Nuggets. Like Rob said, I got me a superstar. Anybody that knows the last couple of 2Ks, I've been able to master the paint. The big men have been really important to me. I'm hitting fadeaway jump shots, especially my big man can shoot, and he can pass too, so he can kick it out to the shooters. I ain't got to worry about him throwing it out of bounds on a stupid pass like 2K. It's money. I'm working through Joker. I'm working through Joker. I got a 7'6" guy, regardless. Like Rob said, we ain't playing real basketball. We playing two. Cole is going to be an anchor in the paint because he's 7'6". He's blocking shots. He's 7'6" feet tall. He's blocking shots. I love my point guard, Jamal Murray. Me and John used to have some Russell Westbrook, Jamal Murray battles in 2K. I think it was 2K 16, 17. We used to go at it. Jamal Murray's my guy. He's gotten better since then. But here's the part that I like the most. Aaron Gordon is a 3 to 4 star trade, B. Austin Rivers is a 2 to 3 star trade, B. PJ Dozier is young. I might get rid of him too. And then who's the point guard? What's the kid's name? Frank Capizano. Another one. Trade B. So I got me a young star in Jamal Murray. I got me another young star in Joker. I'm gonna turn Michael Porter into a superstar because he's also 6'10", can play. Ball is about 20 years old and he's 7'6". I'm untapping his potential until he's 26 years old. Aaron Gordon on the trade block, Monty Morris or Frank Capizano. Both of them, one of them can get traded, one of them can be the backup. I got me a little squad. Monte Morris as well. I got me a little squad there. And unlike you guys, if I do simulate, we should be winning some damn games. Like, if I do simulate, we should be winning some games. I like the Denver Nuggets both in real life as a dark horse, the third best team in the West, but I also like them a lot. I say that if healthy in real life, but in 2K, I definitely like them a lot as a team that I would start a franchise with and try to build around. Some of the stars there, move the trade bait, have some draft picks, make some moves. I got some depth with Jeff Green and Jermichael Green and guys like that. So I like Denver this year, both 2K and NBA. We got any time left, fellas? What you about to say, Rob?
I like that Denver team too. And yes, Bull is a 2K cheat code. You don't even gotta have a high block rating. As long as you're tall, you're gonna get rebounds and block shots and protect.
Playing 2K, baby. You ain't playing basketball. This is a guy that can barely make it on the court in real life. You know, we've been tweeting play ball since last season. Shout out to Ball. But I think that's all the time we have for our show today. We'll be back with some more topics next week, man. Check us out on probably tomorrow for our live. We're actually doing the Denver Nuggets next. If you guys have any comments on the Denver Nuggets, check us out for that on our Instagram lives. But until then, for Rob, for Married Man Rob with a Bachelor's of Arts and Science, for Kimba Hunter, and for myself, Tariq Rashad, it's 3 the hard way. Till next time.